This is a brief introduction of my article titled Influence of Implant Location on the Clinical Outcomes of Implant Abutments, a Systematic Review and Meta-Analysis. The clinical outcomes of implant abutments are influenced by several factors, including method of manufacture, type of implant abutment connection, and implant location. Our study will focus on the implant location. Why is implant location important? Implant location is important because it influences the magnitude of force generated during masticatory activity. Since that the implant location affects the magnitude of masticatory force that the implant abutment is subjected to, affecting the success rate and complications of the implant abutment, therefore this will influence the clinician's choice of implant abutment material. How is our study different? Previous systematic reviews reported on clinical outcomes of abutment materials where all the abutments were pooled together. Other systematic reviews evaluated the outcomes of implant abutment material in only the anterior region or only in the posterior region. The aim of our study was to investigate the effect of implant location, anterior and posterior, on the failure rates, technical, biological, and aesthetic complications of different implant abutment material. Failure was defined as the complete loss of abutment requiring replacement. We formulated a PICO question where the population was the patients treated with dental implant restorations. The intervention was different implant abutment materials. The comparison was between anterior and posterior locations, and the outcome was the survival, mechanical, biological, and aesthetic clinical outcomes. Our initial search gave us a total of 1,102 articles, only of which 32 articles were included finally in our study. Of the 32 articles that were included in our studies, only 5 were included in the quantitative analysis. Our results showed that zirconia abutments exhibited similar fracture rates in anterior and posterior regions. All failures were manifested as abutment fracture. On the other hand, no titanium abutment fractures in anterior or posterior region, because usually fractures of metal abutments are rare. Technical complications were detected primarily in the posterior region, reflecting the high functional loading in this region. Complications were mostly observed in zirconia abutments. Abutment screw loosening was the most common technical complication. Prosthetic complications showed no significant differences in anterior and posterior regions, despite the abutment material used. Biological complications also did not reveal any differences between different abutment materials and was not affected by location. No aesthetic complications were reported in all of the included studies. Due to the heterogeneity of the included studies and the variation of the included data and outcome results, only within study comparison of failure events of anterior and posterior zirconia implant abutments was possible and was only feasible in 5 studies. The results of the meta-analysis showed that the implant abutment failure does not seem to be affected by the position in the jaw. Based on a fixed effect model, no significant differences in failure rate was found between anterior and posterior zirconia abutments. Within the limitation of our study, we can conclude that zirconia abutments are safe to be placed in anterior as well as posterior regions. However, clinicians need to be aware that zirconia abutments may possess greater risk of complications in the posterior regions.